Now she's come through, she shed them, few off. That stalking that you see now is what they call style, an eye. See, the dog's always got its head down. She's working those sheep with her eyes as well as her feet. When those sheep look round and see her, it's the same as a stoat with a rabbit. It's mesmerised, especially if it's a fresh dog or a fresh sheep to the dog. They don't know quite what to make of it, and they kind of freeze at times. Some dogs will go out there and the sheep would just walk through them, but another dog go out there with its got eye that those sheep will not face. We've tested that many times at trials. Put a dog round and he just can't get them in the pen. They'll stand there and defy the dog. They'll stamp its feet at it. It shows a lot of eye, but it doesn't impress the sheep at all. Another dog could go out on the same lot of sheep there and they have one look at it and they're gone. This is another young dog that I had down here, and I schooled him. I'm teaching him to drive, and he's got a lot to learn. He's a very keen, very biddable dog, but he still has, as I say, quite a lot to learn with his lefts and his rights in his driving. He's quite good at it when he's fetching them to you. He's learning, but of course driving them away is in the opposite direction, and of course it puzzles some dogs. They go the wrong turns, and until it's really settled in to them, it takes some doing. A lot of people have got their dogs that'll only bring the sheep to them. There you are, you see he looked back at me for a command and he took it wrong, see? He's wrong. He's wrong. Now then, I want him right-handed. Now I've got him right-handed. But mind you, he's not done much of this, so you mustn't blame the dog. He's learning. It really is very necessary for a shepherd or a flock master to have a dog that will drive, because you never know where he wants those sheep driven to, and if he's got to go everywhere in front of those sheep while the dog's bringing them on behind him, he might have a lot of walking to do, and a lot of that's not done today. It's done on motorbikes and vans and tractors and goodness knows what. And of course you see all this driving done at the sheepdog trials, where they've got their obstacles to go through and so forth, and it's a big test for a dog. A little bit of wind blowing, so the handler there, he's got to just get that across to the dog where he wants it. This is a word of commands coming to these dogs. There's not much whistling. The only whistling that I do when I'm training like this mostly is the lie down. And the important thing of when dogs first go to sheep is they have to learn to lie down and stay there when told. Because if you can't stop a dog and it goes in amongst sheep, well, then you're in trouble. Now I'm bringing him down to try and put him in that pen. Now the gate is open. Let the sheep see that there's a gate open and there's somewhere to go. Now here it's where you see man and his dog. The man's doing his part by blocking that end, and the dog's down at the bottom end bringing them on into the pen. Now the dog should come to that gate and he shouldn't go any further. Stand still there. While the gate is shut, he's holding guard. Never forget that little bit of praise at the end when a dog's done well. Meg, my old lady, she has to do all the bits and pieces that I do here now. And she comes out now, as you see, from her kennel. Just let her whisper to her that you want her to see the sheep, and she's out looking for them. And then from there you ask her, I'm just asking her to go to the right, and I've only got to say "ree," and she's gone. And away she goes right away out of sight, round the bit. She knows the field well, and she comes up round the back of her sheep, and she knows it's 12 o'clock, and down we come. And out she comes, the sheep go straight into the pen. It's easy. It is easy for her and me because we've done it so many times. But that's the sort of thing that you get later on when you're training your puppy, get him up to about 12 to 18 months old, 2 years old, and you can get him doing what she's done now. You'll find that you've got a very good sort of a dog to work. And the dog will leave the sheep where you ask it. You see, when you get a trained dog, well, that's so much better than what I said in the first place about people talking about only wanting for rough work. Well, take that dog out to work and take a dog that they call a rough dog that you can't stop when you want him. And when he goes into the sheep, mucks them all up and flies all over the place, goes in the wrong place, you want him to go right and he goes left, you might as well leave the dog at home and try and do it yourself. Before I finish, I would just like to mention about the chaps that have these dogs and want to train them, and they've perhaps been running a novice class at the trials and that. I mean, it's a bug that gets hold of you, but I would like to give a little advice to them if it's of any use. A lot of them will have too many dogs. I've had a lot myself. I've had quite a few puppies, and it's not right. If you want to train them properly, they don't get a fair chance. You get one dog that you take a fancy to, and it takes a fancy to you, and it's always like the old willing horse, he does it all. But if you've got two dogs, especially when you're starting, that is plenty. You've got one going nicely, and when you've got that going nicely, then I should suggest to any young chap that wants to take on this dog job is to get his puppy, and what he's learnt from the first one, he'll be pleased with, or he's not quite pleased. So he said, well, I went wrong here, or I went wrong there. It's a chance to put that right with the next puppy. But when you get that next puppy, don't forget the old girl just wants keeping in practice a little, and the puppy has a little bit of a chance. I always used to take those pups with me when I went to work. They could see the other one work. Perhaps out on your look, you had a case here where a little puppy would learn a lot, so you could spend just about 5 or 10 minutes giving it a little lesson like that. But to have all these 6s and 7s and 8 dogs running about there, all only getting half trained, and only some of them being shut up for far too long, not having a chance to get out. My advice, and who am I to give advice, but I would like people to realise that these dogs are worth a lot of money today, and if you've got one that's well trained, it's a shame to see that wasted and spoiled.